A.J. Brown is 100% right. Don't let anybody fool you. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy New Year to each and every one of you guys. I hope you're having a great, happy New Year. Now, today, my plan was originally to sit back, relax. I wasn't even going to do a video. I stayed up late with the family enjoying New Year's Eve, trying to anyways, and I was going to just hang out today. But I got a lot of Eagle stuff on my mind. There's a lot of stuff bothering me. I've been listening, to the radio and to news guys and just hearing some of the nonsense that is being spewed. It is driving me absolutely 100% crazy. So I have to get it out of my system. I got to have a little rant because what we're seeing with the Philadelphia Eagles is the greatest collapse in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles that I have ever personally witnessed. Yesterday's loss was the worst loss that I can remember in a long, long time. There was never a loss under Doug Peterson this bad. There was never a loss under Chip Dip Kelly this bad. You may have to go to the Tampa Bay game with Andy Reid to get to a game that was as devastating, that was as bad as yesterday. The Eagles are in epic collapse, and it is very interesting to me what narratives we're starting to see out there, and it's really pissing me off, okay? I'll get into it in a minute, a little more, but before I do that and before I just go off on a rant, we got to say we did have some good news. It looks like DeVonta Smith only has a mild ankle sprain. I think he's getting an MRI just to be sure, but it looks like it's not as serious as it could have been him walking in a boot and in crutches yesterday, okay? Why is DeVonta Smith hurt? Because the coaches are morons. They're morons, okay? This is what driving me crazy right now. Nick KOTITE, and that's what his name is. He's not Nick Sirianni. He's not a cannoli-eating coach. He's Nick KOTITE from the old Rich KOTITE, the worst coach I've ever seen in Eagles history, back in the day when he was 7-2 and choked. Nick KOTITE is losing this team. He is losing this locker room. These players do not believe in the game plan. They do not believe what they're doing. And how can anybody blame them? But instead of this being called out for what it is, we're seeing the blame go to A.J. Brown. The blame is actually being labeled by some people within the media that it's A.J. Brown's fault. I saw somebody actually say in the media that the Eagles would love to trade A.J. Brown if they could. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Instead of trading A.J. Brown, maybe the Eagles should listen to A.J. Brown, okay? Now, the media thought that A.J. Brown was mad at the media, but A.J. Brown made that very clear. Listen to what A.J. Brown says here, okay? Because what he says here tells you everything you need to know about what's going on.
Talk today.
Can you tell us why? That would be talking. There's nothing to say.
I think you'll talk this week. You don't know.
It ain't directly towards y'all, so I just want to clear that up.
That's nice.
Okay, so you hear the end of that, right? He says, I'm not mad at you guys. It's not you guys, okay? So it's not the media that he's pissed off at and not talking. Although they do distort things that he said. It's not the media. However, the media goes after him. Why does the media go after A.J. Brown? Because if the Eagles front office wants to make him the scapegoat, that's what they're going to do. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely happening, but looking and hearing some of the media people put it on A.J. Brown like he's being a diva, he is doing something wrong. Let me ask you something. What is A.J. Brown supposed to do? As a leader, what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to come out and lie to the media? Would people rather A.J. Brown come out and go, Yeah, listen, our offense is not executing. The play calling is not the problem. That's none of the problem. We're just not executing. We got to do a better job and give you some bull crap basic answer that you couldn't stand when Andy Reid did it. You couldn't stand when Chip Kelly did it. You couldn't stand when Doug Peterson could do it. You can't stand when Nick Sirianni does it. You can't stand when all these people give you this generic crappy answer. But that's what we expect A.J. Brown to say. What's he supposed to say? If he tells you the truth, if he says the reason why he's not talking and the reason why he's pissed is because he doesn't believe in his coaching staff, he doesn't believe in the play calls, if he says that, it's going to be 50 times worse than if he talks to the media. So as a leader and a guy who's not a liar, he is just not saying anything. And him not saying anything tells us everything we need to know. Look at him on that last part, or on that last series, right? Was what, 28 or whatever? And you have a 1st and 20, and then they run Jalen Hurts. Then they run Jalen Hurts again. Then they call timeout. They can't get people in. And then they run a screen to Kenneth Gainwell. Oh, by the way, which hurts DeVonta Smith. And he's coming off the field shaking his head, pissed off. Of course, you look at that and you look at the fact that he's not talking to me. He's pissed off at the coaching. He's pissed off at the play calling. Not because he's not getting every target, but because he is smart enough to know he's a Pro Bowl wide receiver, one of the best in the league. He knows what works on offense and what doesn't. And he knows that they're getting shit plays and they're not using guys. That's what is going on. So when I look at A.J. Brown and I look at this situation with A.J. Brown and I look at people trying to already put him in some diva light or some this, some that, I think it's ridiculous. Let's put the blame on where it belongs, okay? And it starts, in my opinion, with the coach. It starts with the head coach, Nick Sirianni. Absolutely moronic plays. He's absolutely stubborn. And the reason why this team is collapsing, the epic way that they're collapsing, is because you have coaches that would rather force a square peg in a round hole. Instead of using the strengths and your players' strengths and build your offense and your defense around those strengths, they try to force them to do things that they shouldn't be doing. So this is a team that is running up against the hill at all times. And then when things get tough and A.J. Brown, instead of not wanting to be a liar and instead of not wanting to make some bogus excuse for you fans, instead of all that, people want to come after A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is 100% right. The Eagles front office need to listen to A.J. Brown. These coaches don't know what the hell they're doing. They stink. And people want to run A.J. Hey, let's go back to, let's have James Trash. Oh, hey, look, guys, we just signed James Trash. Meanwhile, A.J. Brown's been cut and he signs with the Dallas Cowboys, but we're not worried about that. He was never that good anyways. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The Eagles are smart. They'll listen to their players. It isn't just A.J. Brown. Now, let me tell you something. A.J. Brown already went to the coaching staff. These players have already gone to the coaching staff. People are like, why don't they say anything to the coaches? They've already done it. They've already done it. They've already told the coaches, we don't like this play. We don't like what we're doing on offense. And the coaches told them to go pound sand. That's the truth. And you know it by the way that these guys carry themselves on the field. It just isn't, just because A.J. Brown isn't talking. Look at Dallas Goedert coming off the field talking to A.J. Brown. They're both shaking their head. Look at Jalen Hurts sometimes. I mean, they always show the sideline shot of Brian Johnson talking to him, him rolling his eyes. They always show the shot of him, going sideline or on the sitting on the bench, shaking his head. You see it with DeVonta Smith getting into altercations and arguments with Nick Sirianni. These players have already gone to the coaching staff. They have already told them, and the coaching staff is ignoring them. So now they're frustrated. Now these guys have checked out, and Nick Sirianni is losing this team. And what the media and some people want to do is blame A.J. Brown because he's not talking to the media. But he's being honest, and he's not trying to lie to the fans. And he's being a leader by standing his ground for what he knows is right. He knows this play call sucks. It stinks. So they want to blame A.J. Brown. The people want to say, oh, A.J. Brown this, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's right. A.J. Brown gave us 2 of the best years at wide receiver position. And the last thing the Eagles can afford to do, and the last thing they should want to do, is move on from A.J. Brown next year and get rid of, and then just go back to DeVonta Smith and nobody else. Because that's what you're looking at. A.J. Brown is right. A.J. Brown is trying to tell everybody without being a liar, without throwing the team and the coaches out, in public and throwing them under the bus. He's trying to let everybody know they stink. It stinks. The reason why A.J. Brown's not talking to the media, the reason why these guys are frustrated is because these coaches haven't listened to what they said. They've already tried. I think that's where the disconnect comes in. I think the players have already gone to the coaches. I think the coaches told them forget about it. If you look at Nick Sirianni and DeVonta Smith on the sideline incident 2 weeks, that kind of tells you everything you need to know. And then what A.J. Brown said yesterday to media, it's not you guys. It's not really you guys I'm mad at. Okay? He's mad at the bad play calling. He's mad at the fact that these coaches are wasting the talent of the team that he plays on. That is good enough to have been 10-1. These players are this team. Let me tell you something. We may be looking at the most epic collapse ever. Okay? I think if Nick Sirianni does not at least win one playoff game, he's gone. He should be, and he maybe should be gone anyways. Because I don't know that he can get this team back. And I would much rather, would you rather trade A.J. Brown and bring back Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson next year as your offensive coordinator? Look how bad that set of plays at 1st and 20 were. First of all, you're in a tie game with 4 minutes left. Jonathan Gannon just flat out outcoached you. That onside kick was genius because Jonathan Gannon knew if I cut the field in half at worst case scenario, I'll get the ball back at least one more time. They can't stop my offense from scoring. So I could go down and score, and even if they score a touchdown, I could go for 2 points and win it. But he knew by kicking that onside kick that he was giving his team the ball one more time. It was smart. And the only thing that Nick Sirianni could have done in that situation that would have really helped the Eagles was to score a touchdown. Now, how does that coach not know that you have to go down and score a touchdown versus Arizona? You can't kick a field goal. You can't possibly, watching that defense on the field, sit there and think that 3 points is good enough to win it. Not one person in the stadium, not one person watching on the TV thought 3 points was good enough except Nick Sirianni. He played for the field goal. He didn't play for that. He played for the field. Why did he run it 2 times on 1st and 20? 1st and 20 run, 2nd and 20 run, 3rd and 20. Let's run a screen to Gainwell and hurt DeVonta Smith. Why did he run it? Because he wasn't trying to get the first down. He was playing for the field goal. And if something would have broke off and they would have got more yards, great. That's a guy who cannot understand or does not have a feel for what's going on in the field. Because everybody in the world knew that the Cardinals were getting that ball back and scoring a touchdown. Except Nick Sirianni. So, do you really want to get rid of an A.J. Brown or blame A.J. Brown and, get rid of him and then keep Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni? Because everybody blamed the cancer that is A.J. Brown. That's what they're going to say. That's what some people are already saying. It's absolutely insane. The problem on this team is the head coach stinks. He lost the team. He's got to find a way to get it back. I don't know that he can. And listen, Howie Roseman has a big part of blame in this whole thing. With his stupid analytics, the fact that he gets an offensive and a defensive coordinator with no experience for your head coach who doesn't have that much experience is very stupid. And the whole analytics department and the whole way the Eagles front office always wants to have these young coaches that they can control, a bunch of yes men at the helm, is really bad too. Okay? But in the game, during the game yesterday, that was a coach who totally blew it because he doesn't have a feel for the game. And any coach that thinks that those play calls were good, it's beyond me. And any player who thinks that those plays were good is beyond me. The fact that A.J. Brown was pissed off and coming off the field shaking his head, what do you want him to do? He knows the plays suck. He has gone and talked to the coaches and said everything he could say. But they ignored him and other players. So there's nothing left for him to say. So why talk at all? A.J. Brown is right, and the Eagles need to listen to what he's saying. And instead of trying to make him the fall guy, and I'm not saying the Eagles are trying to do it, but there are some people in the media already putting up, different things about A.J. Brown. Don't buy into it. It's all bullcrap. A.J. Brown is right, and the Eagles front office and the coaches, they need to listen to what he's saying, because what he's saying is a reflection of how the whole team feels. It's just that he's the guy that is leading, that is a leader, that everybody says is not a leader, and he is trying to keep quiet, not throw his coaches under the bus, because that would only make it worse, and he's trying not to give them also an excuse or a pass in public. He's trying to keep those who should be held accountable. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. With that said, I hope you guys have a great New Year's. Had to get that off my chest. I probably could go for another 20 minutes, but who wants to hear it? I'm going to have to go take an aspirin so I don't have a friggin' heart attack. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, good or bad, it's Howie Vision, and we're all just living in it. It's funny because I said on Dan Silio's show, about 2 weeks ago, I said if the Eagles lose one of their last 3 games, and then Nick Sirianni gets tossed in the first round of playoffs, he's getting fired. He's getting fired. And now people are starting to say, yeah, he's coaching for his job. You're damn right he is. And it's not looking good for him. Denzel Washington out.